Hi everybody, welcome to my video. Tonight I want to talk to you about audiobooks, in particular my 5 favorite audiobooks for the year 2024. It was a great year for audiobooks for me. I probably went through, I don't know, on average 3 a month. That sounds about right. This year I think I might change things up a little bit and do audiobooks more as like nonfiction, self-help, inspirational, meaning of life type audiobooks. But last year I went through more like nonfiction storybooks and it was hard. I mean, I had a list of, I think, a dozen, which I thought was going to be too long of a video. So I narrowed it down to 5. First of all, for me, as far as audiobooks go, there's 2 things I look for. Specifically, I look for a good story, of course, but the second thing that's probably almost just as important to me is the narrator's voice. I have a problem with voices in general and the way people speak. Sorry for the noise, my cat's playing with a toy. If I don't like the way somebody speaks, then I won't enjoy the book. And if the person obviously isn't a great narrator, sorry again for the noise, I definitely won't enjoy the book. Maybe we should just wait a second until he stops playing. I think he stopped. Nope, he didn't stop. Hold on. Okay, so let's try this again and see if he stops making. Nope, he's making noise. Maybe I should just take the toy away from him. That would probably be the better thing to do. Hold on, give me a sec. No, he's lying down, he's playing something else. Okay, so where was I? Yes, audiobooks. So, narrator is very important. The way the person speaks is really important. Having good personality as far as narrating the books go. Anyways, those are the things that I look for when I'm looking for a good audiobook. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is, for me personally, when I'm talking about these audiobooks, I don't have a lot of details, specifically because I'm a visual learner. So when I'm listening to an audiobook, I have to be doing very basic tasks. Usually I'll paint or I'll draw or I'll do some crocheting while listening. If I'm doing anything more active than that, then I just won't remember the book at all. But that's just me. I'm also the type of person that I won't listen to music while driving. My kids make fun of me for that, but I like to concentrate on one thing at a time. And right now the cat's distracting me, so I'm going to take the toy away. Hold on. Okay, I'm back again. So I'm easily distracted. And so when I listen to an audiobook, I have to be doing something very basic. Like I said, like I do drawing, I crochet, paint, stuff like that. So that's me. So when I'm talking about these books, they're good and I like them a lot, but I might not remember the people's names and stuff like that. So I apologize in advance. What was the other thing I wanted to say? And as far as choosing audiobooks, I get my audiobooks for free through Hoopla. It's an app that's provided by our local library, something that you could consider looking into. They allow you 7 books a month, and that includes ebooks and audiobooks. And they even have movies and television series. I haven't done the movies, so I don't know if that 7 takes into consideration movies as well. But yeah, so you're allowed 7 withdrawals, or you're allowed to borrow books for 7 books a month. That's Hoopla with us. Maybe it's different for other people, but I think it's well worth it if you are in an area where you have a local library to go to the library and get a library card and then ask them whether or not they have audiobooks and ebooks for you to borrow. Okay, so without further ado, I will tell you my 7. They're in no particular order, just the order of when I read them. And now he's chewing on that. No, let me stop. So the first one is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. A friend of mine had told me about Ann Patchett. I had never read any of her books prior to this. This one's called Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. I thoroughly enjoyed it. First of all, it's narrated by Meryl Streep, which is amazing. That was a nice surprise. She did an amazing job, of course. And the book was such a great story. She gave it so much feels. I had so many feels for it. So the story is about, it takes place in recent times. It's actually during the pandemic. So they own a cherry farm. I forget where it is. at the moment, and their grown daughters move in back in with them during the pandemic. And the girl, so the woman, the main character, I don't even know if I know her name because I read this like in, I want to say January of this year. So it was a while ago. There's Emma. So I don't know the name. So the mom in the story is telling, the mom in the book was once going to become a movie star. She was into acting, and she actually acted with a guy who continued acting and is actually world renowned. And so the girls find out her story, or they kind of knew her story, but the book pretty much relives her story of when she was probably, I think, like 16, 17, 18, and when she became an actress. And Tom Lake is where they went to do like community theater, I guess, maybe bigger than community theater. So that's where they would go to do their summer tours, and they play like a playhouse. But a really well-known one. And as I said, she was dating at the time a man. Again, I'm sorry, I don't remember names, and I don't want to stop and read it. Sorry, I should have done this before. Who kept going and became a famous actor. It's such a good feeling book. Again, she gives it so much belief and so much love in this book as the narrator, that it by far is one of my favorites of all time, actually. And I went on after that to read, or I did the audiobook of another one of hers that I can't remember what it's called right now, and Tom Hank was the narrator. I'll put a note here when I come to it. I'll put it afterwards when I do the editing of this video, because I don't want this video to be too long. Let me get down. Off. Oh my God. I shouldn't have the cats in here when I'm doing this. Okay, so that's Tom Lake. The next book, sorry, I lost my place here. See, one thing at a time is all I could do. The next one is Babel by R.F. Kuang. Everybody, I'm sure, has heard of this book. And has heard of her specifically, if not this book. So this is a thick book. The audiobook was quite long, and it takes place in the 1800s in England. And it's about young people who get chosen to go to school for translation. And then there's also like silver aspect of it. So it's kind of like a fantasy, in my opinion, a fantasy magic sort of book, which isn't my genre that I usually go for. But again, I had heard so much about it, and it was available to listen to on Hoopla. So I for sure did it, and I actually very much enjoyed it. It really, you really get immersed into the whole time of the 1800s. You know, they're going to, I want to say Oxford, I believe it's Oxford, part of Oxford, where they learn how to become translator. Well, they learn translation, and there's like also this whole aspect of where they're being used, because they're being used to go to China. Like, you know, there's like the opium trade, and so they're being used to help negotiate trade deals and what have you, and China doesn't want opium to be sold anymore. And I don't know, there's like, again, I read this a long time ago, there's a lot that goes on in this book. It's a very detailed book, but it's never boring. And yeah, good guys, bad guys, and you know, the students need to revolt. And anyways, it's very good. I think even if you don't necessarily, even if fantasy or magic isn't your genre that you usually go for, it's still worth reading. So the third audiobook that I want to tell you about is called The Little Liar by Mitch Albom. This book made me fall in love with Mitch Albom. I've read, I think, 3 or 4 of his books now. I've loved every single one of them. This one in particular, I had it as an audiobook. And again, the cat's making noise. I'm gonna hopefully hope that this doesn't bother anyone in the video when I do the editing, because I like to wing my videos and I don't like to do a lot of editing, so forgive me. So Mitch Albom, The Little Liar, was such a good book. So it's about this boy, I want to say he's 10 or 11. The Nazis come and invade his town, and he gets accidentally left behind when his family gets taken, and a German officer takes him in and tells him he could save his family. And This kid is really well known for being extremely honest. He's never told a lie, but the officer tricks him, misleads him, because he is only 10 years old, 11 years old, to say things to other people, like the prisoners of war, a lie. So he tricks him into telling them a lie, and he believes what he's saying. So technically, in my opinion, I don't think it's a lie. But anyways, that's where the whole premise of the book comes from, and how he continues to survive and live pretty much on his own, and how this lie just haunts him, because he feels that he lied to his family and the citizens of the town that he was from. And obviously the consequences are devastating because of this lie. So yes, I love the book so much that I ended up buying the hard copy so that I could lend it to people. Excellent. And again, the narrator, I enjoyed the narration. It was really well done. And yeah, I gave it, I don't know, 4 stars, 4.5 stars. And more than that is that the author to me now is like an automatic read. Like if anything he ever writes, I'm going to read it, because it was just spectacular. It was such a good book. The next one is another one that probably everybody knows about, is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Oh my God, I can't remember right now. Kingsolver. Yes. Again, Demon Copperhead. So the truth of this is that I read the actual hard copy like years ago. I don't know when it came out, but I read it when it first came out. And so then years go by, and then a friend of mine was telling me about she had listened to the audiobook, and she was just floored by how good it was. I remember the book being good, but I thought that it was kind of like overhyped. It's nice, it's well written, and it's a good story, and it's a great book. It's about the foster system and how it failed this one guy, Demon, and how like he had a hard time. His mother was a drug addict. Yeah, he was an only child with this mother who was in and out of trouble, and he took care of her from a very young age, and how then he got thrown into the foster system, and how, the foster system failed him, and I'm sure it fails lots of kids, unfortunately, and his life growing up in the foster system. It was a great book. And so she convinced me that it was an amazing book. So I thought, okay, it's been a few years. And at the time I read it, I was reading books like really quickly. I don't know what was wrong with me. I just felt like I had to read 10 books a month in order to be, I don't know, cool. No, I just felt that I was reading books way too fast back then. So I wasn't maybe absorbing the book as well as I should. So I thought, okay, you know what? She said the audiobook was great. So I listened to the audiobook. And as I went through it, because I rarely read a book more than once, as I was going through it, I thought, oh, wow, this is an amazing book. And again, the narrator, awesome. Had the accent down because it's from the South. Did such a great job that the audiobook is really, really worth it to listen to. I'll be honest with you, I didn't finish it because as I got probably 3/4 way through the book, the audiobook, it started coming back to me that I knew I read the book, but like, anyways, all that, I started appreciating the book more, but because I knew what the ending was and what was going to happen and all that, I didn't finish the audiobook. All that to say, it still made it to my top 5 audiobooks for 2024, and I would highly recommend it. Either the hard copy, of course, or the audiobook. The last one is The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. Again, she's a super popular author, and for good reason. She's a lot of fun. This one in particular, I read not long ago, and I actually wrote notes about it. The boyfriend, but I read a lot of books like this, so I just want to refresh my memory. So yeah, she wrote Housemaid, did she? Yeah, Housemaid and all those, which I have and I have not read yet, because I got the second book and the third book, but I don't have the first book, and I want to read the first book first. So this book's a murder mystery. It takes place today, plus when the characters were in high school. Takes place in New York City. So yes, so there's this group of friends, somebody gets murdered. One girl in particular, the main character, Daisy? No, Daisy? Sydney. Um, yeah, Sydney. So she's having trouble finding a great date, or not just a boyfriend, but just having a good date. She finally finds somebody, and then she's concerned because at the same time there's like murders going on, and she's a little bit concerned that maybe, you know, she should be safer or more cautious when she's dating guys. And she actually also dated a cop. And so the cop is warning her to be careful because, oh yeah, her friend gets murdered. Her friend in the building that she lives in gets murdered. And so it's a really cool murder mystery, and it's got an awesome twist at the end. Not even at the end. It's got a great twist. It's a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it. Again, the narrator was great. It took me a while. That's not true. Actually, I have a note about it being a bit annoying because the person that was playing Jake, when Jake was younger as a boy, I found the voice super annoying until it dawned on me that it's supposed to be a kid. It's supposed to be like a teenager. So I guess they're trying to do a teenager voice. But I got over that really quickly, and the story went really well, and the book was really good. So those were the 5 favorites of the year for me. The next thing I'm going to do just really quickly is honorable mentions. So this, I didn't write down the authors, but I might put it like here somewhere. So The Song of Achilles was really good. The Throwaway Children, very good. Probably a book that maybe a lot of people haven't heard of, and I like giving you guys ideas about books that aren't as popular. So The Throwaway Children. The Life We Bury, that was a good one as well. The Marlowe Murder Club, also good, honorable mention. And the last one, The Day Shelley Woolhouse Woke Up. Those were my ones that were like good, but just didn't make it to my top 5. And so yeah, so hopefully this has given you some new books to look for. As always, I enjoy exploring books that are not as well known. Different genres, definitely got different genres in there, so a little bit for everybody. And lastly, and most importantly, I think, is check out your library if you want to get free books. I mean, I think people should get paid for books, like the authors should get paid for books, but we do have libraries and we do pay taxes, and our taxes go towards libraries, and why not take advantage of what we could get for free sometimes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Take care. Good night.